Alright, Mission Impossible Fallout is now out, and we're going to tell you about it.
Yes, we are. Ethan Hunt, he had a terrible decision to make in Berlin. Save one life over millions, and now the world is at risk.
Yeah.
Jake, the world's at risk,
Right?
but I want to ask a bigger question. Did you like this film?
I quite like this film, actually. I think it is great. It's probably the best Mission Impossible movie. However, I don't think it could get that title or exist without the previous ones. I think if you're a fan of the previous Mission Impossible movies, this will be perfect for you. A lot of the heart of this film relies on the previous films, and I think that works in this movie's favor. There's some story arcs that are great that I did not expect, that pull back story ties from previous Mission Impossible movies. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's totally a Tom Cruise vehicle. It's all about Tom Cruise all the time. People in this movie will continue to tell you how good Tom Cruise is, but it definitely works, and he deserves that praise in real life and in the film.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I feel like these films were built on just Tom Cruise loving stunts, and I'm gonna do stunts. I'm gonna echo a lot of what you said. I think this is a great film. If you're a Mission Impossible fan, this is for you. If you're just a fan of just like cinema, I gotta say, I feel like you would enjoy this film. It has, typical tropes, but they just work and they're so fresh. It takes a lot of tropes from the Mission Impossible films that, whether they seemed goofy at the time or not, they're delivered, and even if you're a fan of them, they're delivered in fresh new ways. And it's, when we talk about these films, oh yeah, there's crazy stunts. Tom Cruise, did they one-up it? I gotta say they did. I feel like they did. It is an awesome film, and I love it, and I gotta agree, I think it is the best Mission Impossible. Definitely thanks to the other ones, and largely it follows. I don't feel you need to see the other movies to enjoy this, but if you want to get the most satisfaction out of it, the one you would, if I'm saying you need to see one, it's Rogue Nation. Thanks to Christopher McQuarrie directing and writing that, who came back to do this one. We both like this film. Are there any specific things you want to talk about that you liked?
There's actually two scenes in this movie that are incredible. One of them involves a twist that I'm obviously not going to spoil, but it does that Mission Impossible gotcha kind of thing, but I think it's the most effective one that I've seen definitely in a while. And there's a scene in a bathroom that's from the trailers that is worth the price of admission alone. You can walk in at that moment, leave after it, and be satisfied.
You will be very satisfied.
Fantastic. Some standouts, like in the cast, of course, there's Tom Cruise, who's sacrificing his body for the role.
Yes.
There is Rebecca Ferguson, who her character, they build on her for sure from the last one, and it works really well. There's just like the camaraderie between all of them works so well. Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Alec Baldwin. It's great.
Yeah, and to go more on that point is I feel a lot of the heart of these Mission Impossible films is these character interactions. Yeah, you got this crazy mission that is impossible, but it's all down to the heart of these characters. And if the heart's not there, if you don't feel these characters, then the movie probably won't work for you. And I gotta agree. One of my standouts from Rogue Nation was Rebecca Ferguson. Adding her just felt like a breath of fresh air, and having her arc more come together, let's say wrapped up in certain ways from Rogue Nation, it was nice to see. And seeing some familiar faces was nice to see. Ving Rhames, he's great. He's just awesome.
Yeah.
And two scenes I'll point out is the bathroom scene, worth the price of admission. It's awesome. When you see the trailer, what got me into this movie was just seeing Henry Cavill, and he's reloading the arms.
Oh yeah.
I was into it. I bought it. And Henry Cavill, talk about additions.
Yeah.
I thought Henry was great, and it's a different type of role for him, and I loved seeing that from him.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he worked for me when he first is introduced. I was kind of iffy on the character, but as the movie progresses, you start to understand it more, and I think it works a lot better.
Yeah. So I want to talk about two scenes that stood out to me, and they'd be spoilers if I say them, but if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a scene that involves a cop that Tom Cruise happens to talk to. I thought that scene was very heartwarming and was one of the best scenes in the film.
Agreed.
To go on, also, one that, for me, it's right there, but I don't think it gets there. However, emotionally, if you're a fan of these films, it does. Of Ving Rhames, he's talking to a character, and just, they're having a heart-to-heart, and it's heartwarming to see, especially if you're a fan of the previous films. Now, I'm going to say that, and you may have seen it and think I'm talking about one scene that's in the third act. That's good, but to me, I'm talking about one that happens before shit starts to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And that scene with the cop is such a small scene, but one of the best in the movie. I should have mentioned that too.
And it goes to show the character of Ethan Hunt.
They do a lot of stuff with Ethan Hunt's character that you really humanizes him, and you like this movie kind of is all about how good of a person Ethan Hunt is, just to his friends, and it for that reason it works really well. There's a lot of heart and a lot of emotion to it.
Which part of why he's such a good guy is why there's an impossible mission going on. I feel like was that too punny? Was that too punny there?
In the review, is there any terrible things in this movie? Maybe not terrible, just things that didn't work so well.
I'll say what. There's very minimal things I dislike. There's a lot of nitpicky things. However, I'm going to say there's one thing I hate. There's something I hate in this movie, and it doesn't involve the plot. It is this stupid opening logo title screen. I hate trailers now when they show the trailer to the trailer. It's stupid. And they do this title sequence of showing me the movie before I see the movie. I don't want to see the movie before I see the movie. I want to experience the movie, and I don't want to jump ahead because of a title sequence. Now, within me hating this title sequence, I will say there is within that, I'm sorry I forget the composer's name of this one, but they do a new take on the Mission Impossible theme that I thought was brilliant. I think the score itself is very complimentary to the film, but I think the new kind of take on this theme worked very well. However, just don't show me the movie before the movie. Can we just stop doing that?
I think that's a thing that a lot of the Mission Impossible movies have done. I think it's kind of always been corny and a little just nonsensical, but it didn't bother me that much. I think closer to the third act, or in the third act of this movie, there's some reaching to, it's just a lot of conveniences at the end.
Yeah.
There's something that's a little gimmicky that, it didn't bother me too much, but it's worth noting. This movie doesn't have many big things that stand out to you. It's so fast, it's so fun. There's a few like, okay, that's a little ridiculous moments at the end that kind of take you out of it, but then you're right back in it a couple beats later. So there's nothing to fault this movie too much. It hits all the tropes of all the other Mission Impossible movies. Yeah. It's nothing too new. There's some angles to it that's refreshing, but again, it is a Mission Impossible movie, so there's nothing crazy. They do the crazy stunt, which is nice, but nothing beyond. Yeah,
well, one other one I'll go to, and this would be more of a nitpicky one. However, if I'm going to critique the film, as a film is all people should do, is there's a certain arc within this movie involving Angela Bassett that feels very repetitive of something we may have already seen in the previous film. I was fine with it, but the more I thought about it, it was very just reminiscent of something we've already done in Rogue Nation.
Mission Impossible Fallout is a great way to end the summer movie season. It's got all the excitement that comes with a summer blockbuster, and it's got heart to it, and there's a lot of intelligent moments too. It's not dumb fun, which it's been such a cliche lately. It's not that. It's smart, and you can tell there's a legitimate craft to the filmmaking, and there is passion behind it. You can tell Tom Cruise is having a blast, and everyone behind it is passionate about it. It's definitely worth the watch. I would probably give it like a strong 8 out of 10.
Okay, well, you know what? To echo that, I don't even think it's just a great summer film. I think this is a great film. It happens. I mean, we're halfway through the year, but it. As of right now, it would be in my top 3. I love this film. I do think it's great. It has the classic Mission Impossible tropes. However, it's presented in fresh ways. I would say go see this movie. This is an awesome movie. You can look at the runtime and, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. It goes by fast. It's an awesome, fun time. It's a blast. Tom Cruise, like you said, he's great in the film. Rebecca Ferguson, I love in the film. The whole cast, I love. And seeing Henry Cavill, the mustache. How have I not mentioned the mustache yet? You know what? One of my positive things of this film is the mustache. I love the mustache. It's great. Now,
if we're plugging on random positive things at the end, the score is so good. There's a lot of little drums that go on. Yeah. And then even the lack of score moments is super refreshing.
You are at a high 8, you said? I'm going to one-up you, and I'm going to go a strong 9. I love this film. I think it's awesome. And for me, it's my favorite Mission Impossible film. And one thing, if we're going to talk about a mustache, talk about score, The fact that they kept in the cut when Tom Cruise broke his ankle,
Yes.
it worked very well. And Tom Cruise,
Love him.
I love the guy, but
Yeah.
you gotta ask, is this guy gonna meet his end doing these stunts? I love that he does the stunts. You can tell he's got passion for it. I love it. Keep doing them. Just don't hurt yourself anymore.
Will Tom Cruise die in the next Mission Impossible? You can find out by listening to our podcast, The Jake and Ben Show, every week.